Hello, everyone, and welcome. Have you ever really stopped to think about how many times in a single day you use the words have and don't have? It's one of the very first concepts we learn, and it really is the bedrock of how we describe our world, our relationships, our lives. In this session, we're going to do a proper university-level deep dive into expressing this fundamental concept in Mandarin Chinese. By the time we're done here, you'll have the foundational tools to start having some truly meaningful conversations.
Right, so think about it. From your family and friends, to your job, to your hobbies, almost everything we talk about circles back to this idea of possession. So, how does Mandarin handle this? Well, as you're about to see, the language uses a system that is both elegant and incredibly logical. And really, understanding it is your key to unlocking a whole new level of conversational fluency. All right, let's get right into it. So, at the very heart of possession in Mandarin is this single powerful character, yo. The history of this character is just fascinating, and it gives us this incredible window into ancient Chinese culture. You see, the top part is actually a pictograph of a hand, and the bottom part, yue, is a stylized version of rou, which is the character for meat. Now, back in ancient China, meat was a precious, life-sustaining resource. So this image of a hand holding meat became the ultimate symbol of having something, of possession, of wealth and abundance. Isn't that amazing?
Okay, let's really focus on the sound here. The pinyin is yo, and you see that little V-shaped mark above the O? That is absolutely critical. It tells us this is a third tone. Now to get this right, I want you to imagine your voice is on a little roller coaster. It starts in the middle of your range, it dips down low, and then it rises back up again. Listen carefully. Yo. Let's try it together as a class. Yo. Very good. You'll also notice on the slide that the meaning includes to exist. That's because it's the verb used for there is or there are. It's a verb of being, of existence.
Now, let's start putting this together. To say I have, you simply combine the character for I, which is 我, pronounced or, and our brand new verb, you. But, and listen closely because this is a crucial pronunciation rule, once you master this, you will sound so much more natural. The rule is called tone sandhi. In Mandarin, whenever you have two third tones right next to each other, the first one almost magically changes into a second or rising tone. So instead of saying a clunky 我有, it smooths out into 我有. It's a subtle change, I know, but it makes all the difference in the natural rhythm of the language.
All right, you've mastered the art of saying what you have. So now, let's look at the other side of the coin, how to talk about what you don't have. In English, we just throw in a not or don't. But in Mandarin, the logic of negation is very specific, and internalizing this is absolutely critical if you want to speak with real accuracy and fluency. To say, I don't have, you're going to need this character, mei, pronounced mei. Now, I know what many of you are probably thinking. Wait a minute, Professor, I thought the main word for not was bu, and you are 100% correct. However, and this is a major point you need to remember, you can't just pair bu with any verb you feel like. When it comes to the verb of existence, yo, you must use mei. Think of them as having a special chemical bond. They are an inseparable pair. Mei is the character that negates existence, so it's the only one that can negate yo.
So to say don't have, we combine our two characters to create the word méiyǒu. Let's break down the tones. Mei is a second tone. It should sound a little like you're asking a question. Your voice starts low and rises up, like you're saying, really? Then yo is our familiar third tone roller coaster. So the whole word has this rising, then dipping and rising sound. Listen again. méiyǒu. Okay, let's all try it together. méiyǒu. Excellent.
And here is the best part, something I think you'll all appreciate. The sentence structure is exactly the same as the affirmative. You just say I, which is 我, and then our new phrase, don't have, méiyǒu. It is that beautifully logical and simple, 我没有. This kind of consistency in the grammar is one of the many reasons why Mandarin, for all its complexities, is such a rewarding language to learn.
Okay, so you have the basic affirmative and negative building blocks. Now let's have some fun with this. Let's start building some real complete sentences. We're going to take what we've learned and add some essential new vocabulary into the mix.
Let's start with a classic example sentence. I have two older sisters. In Mandarin, that's 我有两个姐姐. Okay, let's break this down. We already know our tone-changed 我有. Next is liang, which means two, and it's another third tone. Then comes ge. This is a really important word called a measure word, and it's pronounced with a neutral tone. It's short, it's light, almost like a little tap. And finally,
姐姐, older sister, which is a third tone followed by a neutral tone. So the whole sentence has this wonderful flowing rhythm to it. Now for our negative example, I don't have an older brother. In Mandarin, 我没有哥哥. We've already got 我没有 down. The new vocabulary here is 哥哥, which means older brother. Now it's really important to note that in Chinese culture, age and hierarchy within the family are extremely significant. There are very specific words for older versus younger siblings. 哥哥 isn't just a word, it's a term of respect and also endearment. You'll hear it constantly in Chinese family life.
Now, I want you to take a very close look at this slide. What do you see? It's the same fundamental sentence structure we use in English. Subject, verb, object. This should be a huge sigh of relief for all of you. It's a real game changer for English speakers. You do not have to completely rewire your brain to learn some alien way of putting sentences together. The foundational grammar is already familiar to you. The real adventure is in mastering the characters and, of course, the tones.
All right, now that you've got a handle on the basic sentence structure, let's zoom in on one specific detail from that first example sentence. Getting this right is one of those little things that will make you sound so much more advanced. Did you happen to notice that in the sentence, I have 2 older sisters, we didn't use the word for 2 that you probably learned on your first day? Let's dig into why that is. So in Mandarin, there are 2 ways to say 2, liang and er. And I have to be very clear about this. They are absolutely not interchangeable. Here's the rule. When you are talking about a quantity of something, 2 books, 2 friends, 2 cars, you must use liang. When you're just counting an order, yi, er, san, or you're giving a phone number, you use er. This is a small but absolutely critical distinction, and using it correctly is one of those clear signs that separates a beginner from a more advanced student. We've been talking a lot about the nuts and bolts of the language, the grammar and the pronunciation, but now I want to step back for a moment and discuss something that is just as important for true mastery, the culture. Have you ever wondered why so many beginner Mandarin courses, this one included, start with lessons about family? Well, I can assure you, it's not a coincidence. It's a direct reflection of some very deep-seated cultural values. You see, in many Western cultures, asking personal questions about someone's family right after you meet them might be seen as a bit too forward, maybe even intrusive. In China, it is often the exact opposite. Asking about someone's family is a very common, very expected way of showing that you're genuinely interested in them as a person. It's a crucial first step in building what is known as guanxi. Now, guanxi is so much more than the simple translation of relationships. It's a complex, dynamic web of social connections, of influence, of mutual obligation that really is at the very heart of Chinese society. So, when you're learning the words for mother, father, brother, and sister, you're not just memorizing vocabulary. You are learning the essential tools for building trust and genuine human connection in that culture. And there you have it. You can think of these as the 4 golden rules of possession in Mandarin. With just these 4 simple, logical rules, you can now discuss what you have and what you don't have with both confidence and, just as importantly, grammatical precision. You've taken a really huge step forward in your Mandarin journey today, and you should all be very proud of the progress you've made.
So you've learned to make statements, but the real magic of language, the real connection, happens when you start asking questions. In our next session, we're going to explore how to transform these very statements into questions, and that will unlock a whole new world of conversation. But for now, I want to leave you with this. What is the very first question that you are going to ask in Mandarin? The possibilities, as you're starting to see, are endless.